Welcome back to our show, Carl Zha. How are you? What's up?
How are you? Thanks for inviting me to the show, Ali.
It looks like a big gathering going on in China. Big boys of different countries gathered up. A lot of things under discussion from security to trade. What is the SCO? Walk us through the history and why, how is this one significantly different?
Well, SCO stands for Shanghai Cooperation Organization. This is so we have BRICS. Many people know about BRICS, but BRICS is an economic cooperation forum. Its most main focus is on economy, whereas SCO, when it was founded, it was designed for security cooperation. It was originally jointly proposed by both Russia and China, included the former Soviet Republic stance in Central Asia, and the original goal was to combat terrorism, actually, which concerned both China, Russia, and countries in Central Asia. And that organization gradually expanded over the years. So now it includes both Pakistan, India, as well as Iran. And there's over 20 countries currently attending, and you have world leaders like Putin, Modi, and Chinese President Xi Jinping all gathered together at a very sensitive time because this is a time when Donald Trump is slapping tariff against country all around the world. And the Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov actually just made a remark. He said the multi this is a the multipolar world has arrived. This is what the Western countries are trying to prevent. They're trying to prevent this. And there are many issues to be discussed. If for example, Iran also attended the SCO summit, and from Iran's perspective, they're preparing for another possible Israeli aggression against them. Because Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu has made no secret about want to restarting a war against Iran. So Iran is preparing. It's seeking closer economic security ties with both Russia and China. And then there's India. Modi is in China now to mend ties with its Chinese neighbor. And at the same time, reaffirming its ties with Russia because Trump is putting the very tight squeeze on India over India's ties with Russia, particularly over purchase of Russian oil. India and China are number one, number two purchaser of Russian oil right now. And Trump can't do anything about China because China controls the rare earth supply chain. They still depend on China if they want to get any rare earth. So they can't touch China, but Trump thinks India is a weaker party. And Trump being a bully that he is, bully, they fear the strong and they bully the weak. And because Trump sees India as a weak link, so this is why Trump is putting the squeeze on India right now. At a time when he's trying to negotiate an end to the Ukraine conflict with Putin. And he thought, okay, by applying his leverage on India over purchasing of Russian oil, he can put pressure on Putin to negotiate an end to the Ukraine conflict. This is how Trump, he talked about all this being his art of war, so everybody kind of figured him out. But credit to the Indian leadership, though. They have more backbone than the Europeans because the Europeans just make a beeline to Washington and line up like school children in the White House waiting to be scouted by Trump. So India, to their credit, they push back. They push back against the U.S. pressure, and they're asserting their own strategic autonomy, which means a closer alignment with their fellow BRICS countries and their fellow SCO member nations. That will be India, China, etc. So this is Trump. Modi actually made a big show of holding hands with Putin and Xi Jinping on stage, right? I mean, it's meant to show for consumptions of people back in Washington, right? India right now is they're playing the China cards, they're playing the Russia cards versus US, showing US, hey, we have options. If you squeeze us too hard, we're just gonna go full into the alignment with Russia and China, which is actually a big strategic change because for previously, India have a different vision for BRICS, as I talk about. BRICS members like Russia and China, they want BRICS to be an alternative to the US dominated world order. India wants alternative, but India doesn't want BRICS to be anti-Western or anti-US because India wanted to foster its own ties with United States. Um, but now it's US that's backing them in a corner because US do not have allies. They do not have partners. They only have vassals. So Trump want India to bend the knee and kiss the ring. And that India leadership find that unacceptable because India still perceive itself as a regional power, as a power to be respected. They have more dignity than the Europeans. That's all I can say. And so now, if you look at the map, if you look on the map of the countries that's currently attending SCO summit, um, China, Russia, India, Pakistan, Iran, all together, this is a majority of the world's population live. And this covers almost most of Eurasian continent. And if people are students of military strategy or geopolitics, they would have known about the world island theory by Mackinder. Mackinder says if you want to dominate the world, you got to dominate the world island. And by the world island, he means Eurasia. And if you look at as the map of SCO, that is a map of Eurasia. That's a map of the world island. And this is why US is calling this anti-American alliance. It's which it's actually not true because neither of these countries are looking to be enemy of United States. They're actually not trying to destroy the US the way US try to destabilize everybody else. I'm sure all these countries will be happy to work with US on an equal basis. But US do not like equality. US do not respect sovereignty. Empire do not respect sovereignty. And the SCO and BRICS, they represent a different vision, a vision of more equality and respect for individual sovereignty. For example, India hasn't been seeing eye to eye with its fellow BRICS members, right? And for a long time, that is okay. Nobody is forcing India to like drag them in line, so to speak. But that's exactly what United States do. U.S. will brook no dissent from its own foreign policy. You will tolerate no independent foreign policy by what is considered its vassal states. So right now, what we're seeing is a geopolitical alignment that's taking place. It's getting solidified day by day as U.S. ratchet up the pressure.
Do you have anything on the declaration that's been signed? I think there were points from all the countries, but what we in the South Asian region more focused on the Pahalgam attack being mentioned in it and a terrorist train attack that happened in Balochistan that was also mentioned in it. Other than this, what does this have? What significance does this have? Firstly, and then other than this, do you have any other highlights that we could share with our audience that were signed on the declaration from all the countries?
Well, I mean, this summit is still um uh, so right now India and Pakistan, they both have brought terrorism as like the major area of concern for their country, right? For India part, it brought up the attack in Kashmir, and for Pakistan concern is of course the BLA attacks in Balochistan, and and currently, this is but for I mean for obvious reasons these are the focus for respectively for Pakistan and India. For the other countries, there's also much to talk about. But for Russia, for example, uh, Russia they try to because this is an opportunity to showcase that Russia is really not isolated, right? I mean, it's literally attending a meeting with over half of the people leaders representing over half of the humanity. Putin already won by going to the Alaska meeting with Trump, by Trump that acknowledging that Putin is in fact not a pariah, international pariah, the who ostensibly have an ICC warrant on him, but U.S. did nothing. They respected him as a world leader, and by coming to SCO, Putin again establishes legitimacy as a world leader. And for China, this is also a sort of point of pride and prestige to host all these countries under one umbrella. And I think that is more important than I don't know what exactly is being hammered out under the tables. A lot of these meetings, you know, let's face it, a lot of these meetings are mostly the PR is more important, right? To present a united front to the United States and also to show that we're working together. But a lot of the more detailed agreement that's being hammered out by lower class diplomats who have been working overtime, I'm sure, you know, um, behind closed doors. And we'll probably learn details of that as days goes by.
A lot of the Western media is of the opinion that all of this is, as you said, it's more of a PR thing. They're saying that it doesn't have the content into it. Most of the Western media are saying that it's just a thing on pictures, but deep down inside, there are a lot of other things going on. What do you have to say about that?
So there's a lot of copium and anxiety actually in the Western press. We saw this plenty on X, for example. You have several large account tweeting, "U.S. is still the superpower," and they post it with the picture of Modi, Putin, and Xi Jinping talking among themselves, right? I mean, obviously they're being rattled. They have been rattled that they're now emerged as a different pole to the U.S. unipolar order. And and you have people saying, "Oh, U.S. American military is still number one. It can crush all three countries' military together at the same time," which is just completely BS. Because when was the last time U.S. crushed anyone's military? Not let alone China, India, and Russia put together. The last time U.S. had to face a Chinese military was in Korea, and they got pushed back from Yalu River all the way back to Seoul. So this is a lot of brave talk and a lot of not brave talk, lot of bravado and it disguise a deep seated anxiety um, and worry at the U.S. losing out on the top spot. I mean, this is all it's about. It's about U.S. trying to preserve its own hegemony, and all these hanger-on of the empire, they're feeling anxious on the behalf of the empire that they're gonna lose their special privilege that's associated being the lackey of the empire.
So, as we mentioned, India, how do you see India coming out of this? I mean, it's going out, meeting people, meeting Russia, meeting China, having some good moments together. The world sees the pictures. Modi sitting with Putin in his car, and then holding hands while entering the summit, and then all the three leaders huddling up together. How do you see India reacting to the Trump tariffs when you see all this happening?
Well, I mean that's India's response to the Trump tariff because they now they are leaning heavily into playing the Russia card and the China card to show, hey, we also have friends. We also have very powerful, important friends, and we are going to stand by our traditional friendship with Russia, which we're now willing to give up. We're not going to bend under American pressure to give up on the purchase of Russian oil. This is a meaning of Modi sharing the picture of him inside the car with Putin. And and that the fact that now they're mending ties with China, they're playing they're showing U.S. like, look, if you squeeze us too hard, we're gonna run towards these friends of ours, and that you may have to think twice about what you're doing to us. So, I mean, this is a very sensible strategy, I would say. It is PR, yes, it is image, but these images do send a powerful message, which is to Washington. Are you sure you know what you're doing? You sure you really want to push us into a firmly anti-Western, anti-US alliance in that direction? Um, I, you know what, I don't know how US will respond because this is
Yeah,
Donald Trump. He
that was the
changed his
next
mind.
question. How would they respond? How would this go on?
US Donald Trump can change his mind in 24 hours. But one thing Donald Trump does not like is he does not like people challenging his ego. Right? We talk about this. After the India-Pakistan conflict, Pakistan immediately welcomed Trump intervention by saying it was so helpful. Thanks Trump for brought about the ceasefire. We will nominate you for Nobel Peace Prize. And Trump really, really liked that. So that's why there was a warming of ties between Pakistan and United States. But whereas India came out immediately and said, no, Trump has nothing to do with that. We did our thing. We consider our mission accomplished. Trump played no role in this. And Trump was pissed. Trump was really, really pissed about that. And because for him, that guy really won his Nobel Peace Prize, man. and, and and so one of the reasons he's squeezing India so hard is because of that. And now India is in a sense doubling down, right, by showing uh Modi together with Putin and Xi Jinping. So Trump will do his, typical Taco Tuesday. Trump will always chicken out and then try to mend tie with India. Or another likely scenario is that Trump will get more pissed because he feel his authority is being challenged once again,
There
right?
are
Yeah, I mean,
signs of him
this is
getting
the thing.
pissed. He just tweeted. I think he
Trump,
said he said that we gave India a lot of chances. India was the one placing tariffs on us. It wasn't us who were doing it, and now there is no, there's no chance left. Okay, it's done. So this is what he tweeted yesterday. So I think this is going
yeah,
south really quick.
Tr- Yeah, the thing is, Trump is really unpredictable. So we're gonna have to see how long he will hold to that position, right? He could change his position in 48 hours in a tweet. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see.
So while the SEO main event was SEO was happening, there were side meetings happening along of it. Um, in those side meetings, India and China met, Xi Jinping and Modi, and Russia and Modi met, and Pakistan and Iran met. So, what do we see in these meetings? If you can like give an overview, why was this important?
Yeah. Well, one thing is India and China are trying to hammer out their border issues. The border dispute is a thorn on the side of the bilateral relationship. And both India and China have publicly stated their top priority is to de-escalate along the border, to calm down the tensions, and they will continue to try to resolve the border issue. And so my guess is, how they're going to work out procedures for type of de-escalation that's going to happen on the border, and also they're going to work out some agreement on trade. For example, U.S. is India's number one trade partner. right? And now in United States is putting the tariff on India. China is India's number two trade partner. The trade between India and China have been growing despite the all kind of investment restriction, the restrictions India government place on Chinese investment into India. India already promised they're going to relax on some of these investment restriction on Chinese capital going to India. So we're going to have to see how that works out. But they already have restored the direct flight, which had been suspended since COVID times, and the two side also pledge more people to people exchange. So maybe there's more of that happening. Now Pakistan and Iran, they have a shared interest in because Pakistan and Iran have a common border, and they both face the issue of terrorism and separatism along that border. Among the Baluchistan separatists. So that's one area the two sides probably looking forward to cooperation. But also there's additional urgency on Iranian side because of possible second Israeli aggression. And this is another area where Iran and Pakistan could work together. For example, China have um, have done quite a bit of tech transfer to Pakistan, military hardware wise, and Pakistan might be the median that's chose to do some of that transfer to Iran, for example, because Iran is also looking to possibly acquire Chinese military hardware, either air defense system or even jet fighters, and they will probably appreciate some of the experiences from Pakistan, who have been operating them for many years and to great success.
Just a question came to my mind. How are these jets transported? I mean, they just turn on the keys and fly to the place, or just on trucks or on because if they're transported by air, that is detectable. People can see. Also by land as well. But how are these jets like taken from one place to another? Are they like? Do they like?
That's a good question. I have to I have to look into it. I have to see how the past jet fighter, for example, gone between China and Pakistan. But China Pakistan they share a
Yeah,
border, so
yeah, yeah.
they could either do land or over air. I mean, like that's not an issue. There are Pakistani pilots that's been trained in China. They could just literally fly those jets over, or they could be load them on trucks and just be drive down the Karakoram highway from Xinjiang to Pakistan. There are many options. I doubt they will do it overseas because that might you don't want to get U.S. Navy too excited about interception and stuff like that. So, but there are plenty of ways for that kind of transfer between China and Pakistan because China and Pakistan share borders.